150 radio stations, more than 45 TV stations. This is just one part of allowing the media to be free in terms of proliferation, in terms of birth. But there are also issues that remain, underlying issues that remain in terms of their existence. We can have a radio station existing, but is this radio station free enough to operate as expected by society, as expected by the norms, as expected by the law? These are fundamental principles that now define the freedom of the press. And World Press Freedom Day actually comes into play in order to make everyone realize that there are issues that need to be thought about thoroughly when it comes to the operations of the media, in terms of freedom, in terms of the freedom of the individuals that are working in the media, and of course in terms of the allowance of divergent views that come through the media. So media freedoms are far and wide. And it's a big subject that cannot be discussed in a minute, because it borders mainly on human development. It borders mainly on the governance systems of the country. It borders mainly on the human rights that are supposed to be respected. Media freedoms are human rights.
All right, Helen, one would want to argue to say there's a thin line between a free press and freedom of expression. I want you to come in from that point of view.
Okay, thank you so much, Roland. I think what Boyd has talked about ably explains what press freedom is. And when it comes to freedom of expression, I think under Article 20 of the Constitution, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of Zambia, I think we all have the right to express ourselves free. And we all know that freedom of expression is a fundamental human right, while press freedom is also a constituent of freedom of expression. So really, how do people express themselves if they do not have a free media? Okay, because the media is there to provide to give information, so that people have access to information, people participate, and they have their
on matters that
affect them
on a day-to-day basis.
They can also make informed decision. The media is there to provide to set the agenda and provide space for debate. So how will citizens of this country, if the media is not free, be able to express themselves fully if they do not have access to free radio? They do not have access to information. So there's really, freedom of the media is a fundamental human right, and we should not separate the two. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Boyd, I want you to come in from the point of view. Helen says freedom of the press is, freedom of expression, you say, right, is a fundamental human right which should not be separated from a free press. To what extent do you agree with Helen?
To a very large extent. That is the basis of the existence of the media. The media helps freedom of expression to flourish. What does it do? What it does is that it provides an opportunity, a platform, where individuals who feel compelled to participate in national dialogue would come and express their views. Now, express their views how? In a free environment, without intimidation, without fear of anything, fear of oppression, fear of being called names and things like that. So the platforms that the media provide are platforms that promote human rights in form of freedom of expression, freedom of participation, freedom of association, because once you begin to talk about a subject, you're aligning yourself to a particular section of society that believes and understands that that which you are propagating is that which society itself believes should be the norm. So therefore, the platforms that the media provide are platforms that promote human rights. And this is a fundamental principle and fundamental right in the Constitution. It is also found in the general sections of the Constitution and also found in the general principles of the Bill of Rights. These are fundamentals that cannot be taken away. It's the same when you discuss issues to do with political and civil rights of individuals. These are things that you cannot take away from an individual. That is why when you look at the Constitution and you study the Bill of Rights, everything that is contained there is basically elements. Those are elements that promote the existence of humanity, elements that promote the existence of freedoms that a human being is supposed to enjoy. And one of them is the freedom of expression, a right to express their opinion, a right to have an ideology that would not be interfered with by any other by means of saying, no, yours is not, but mine is. That is how freedom of expression is supposed to be exercised. And the media provides that platform where people are able to express themselves freely without fear or without fear and intimidation.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Helen. Let's be a little bit controversial in our discussion. All right. Do you think freedom of expression truly exists in Zambia?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does. But freedom of expression is provided for under Article 20, Sub-Article 1, while freedom of the press is provided for under Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution, under the same section, Article 20. And when we talk about freedom of expression, I think it provides, like just what Boyd has been talking about, the freedom for someone to express themselves without being interfered. But then the question is, does it exist? Yes, it does. Here we are here sitting.
We're freely expressing ourselves.
Oh, of course. And no one is interfering.
And
we
no one is
have
interfering.
freedom of expression, both online and offline. And the fact that this right is provided for in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, I think Zambians are free to express themselves. But how do we express ourselves? Freedom of expression has got its own rules, and we need to express ourselves in a more responsible manner. I cannot just stand on a mountain and start insulting you, Lorenzo, my neighbor, and they say I am free to express myself. No. We express ourselves, more especially that Zambia is a Christian nation, and we have values that guide us in whatever we do. So we need to look at what is it that we're talking about. I know there's some controversial points that come through every time we're talking about freedom of expression, especially when we are dealing with politicians. Yes, freedom of expression is there, and no one is gagged, and no one has got the right to gag you from talking about what you want to talk about. So in terms of politics, I'm sure we've seen a lot of Zambians express themselves on several issues. We've seen, including nowadays, I am even seeing young kids, school-going children. Yesterday we heard when they were talking about wanting to go back to school. It's, it's been long since they were in class, and, they were free to express themselves, and no one is stopping them from doing that. So it does exist.
Okay. All right.
But can I add something?
Please go ahead, Boyd.
I very much agree with Helen. Freedom of expression exists. It is enshrined in our constitution. But we must not forget that it can be abused. Every element that is given to a human being can easily be abused.
Absolutely.
If not respected, if not taken seriously, if not appreciated in the manner and context in which it is supposed to be.
It's like I get a pressing iron, instead of switching it off when I'm done pressing my shirt,
you leave it on. And you leave it on the ironing board.
Imagine.
And it is sitting like that. You're burning the entire house. So every right has the potential to be abused, and we have seen these several times. I mean, when you hear people complain about defamation issues, it's because somebody abused their right to express an opinion about somebody, and then their opinion injured that other person. That is abuse. So every fundamental right that exists under this earth is bound to be can be abused at any time. It's a potential basis for abuse. But I think when it comes to the media, and that is where MISA comes in. That is why I love working with MISA, because now MISA has an opportunity to go in and help our media practitioners, including individuals that interact with the media, individuals who call themselves friends of the media, to be trained in how to professionally deal with their freedoms of expression, their rights to express themselves about a particular issue, because there are ethical boundaries that we need to maintain and observe at all times. Respect is number one. If this is not maintained, then we are bound to see a lot of people abusing the media, a lot of people abusing their right to freely express themselves.
Awesome. All right. Still on you, Boyd. My second part to this question would run as follows. Is the media able to practice journalism without fear or favor in this country?
That is the aim. That is the aim. The time that we went into college to train as media institutions, one of the principles that we were being taught about is that you are supposed to operate in a free environment and you're supposed to operate professionally without fear. That is number one. That is cardinal. I mean, if you are going to have fear in the way you operate as a journalist, then you're not fit to be in this field, because in this field, you're not supposed to have friendships that are sugar-coated. If you are to call a spade, call it a spade. You cannot call it a big spoon. So we are trained or tutored to be professionally strong in terms of operating without fear, without favoring anyone in what we do. But of course, even in these elements, and I must be brutally honest, we have seen elements in journalism that have been complained about by society, and genuinely so. And the professional bodies like MISA and others have taken time to censure individuals or institutions that have been complained about and have been found wanting, because these fundamentals, like I said earlier, can easily be abused, can easily be misinterpreted. Probably that could be the right word at this particular time. But yes, the media is supposed to occupy a space where they do not fear to operate, where they do not fear to write the news the way it's supposed to be written. But of course, that news has to fit in the spheres, in the circles, in that what do you call it, in a mode that allows and respects all the fundamentals that are supposed to be respected when writing a story. Is it balanced? It is balanced. It is responding to the needs of the society. Yes, it is responding to the needs of the society. Are you contributing to national development? Yes, I am contributing to national development.
Okay, 0960-200-490. That is the number. You can get in touch with us right on the program. And you wanted to come in, Helen? Please carry on. Yes,
just to
entering to the same.
To what Boyd is saying, I think when we look at this year's theme and as to whether the media is operating without fear or favor, I think I want to believe that currently the answer is yes and no, because we have a number of elements that make the media or journalists not to be free whenever they are doing their work. We are working with fear in that there are a number of laws that impede on our day-to-day work. Okay, such as defamation laws, and also, especially under Cap 87 of the Constitution of Zambia, the Penal Code. So some of those laws, I think, do not really provide for us a platform that we can freely do our work without being conscious of, committing an offense. Then the other thing that we have seen is the issue of censorship. And this censorship can either be self-censorship or institutional censorship, because somehow we don't know what the policy for Christian Radio Christian Voice is. So me as a reporter, I will not tell the story as I am supposed to tell it, for fear that my boss will maybe spike this story, or my boss will say, no, let's favor party B. So those are the issues and the politics and the dynamics that we come across whenever we are in these newsrooms. So to just answer that one, I think we have come across a number of house styles, the editorial policies, which are different from all the media houses. Radio Christian Voice is has policy or editorial policy can differ from what ZNBC has. And depending on that, for fear of losing your job, you prefer to feature part B and leave out part A in your stories. And you find that most of the time, the news or the stories are biased. There's no fair play in the way we are doing our stories, because we cannot balance up our stories.
Mhm.
And then two, the other thing is we want favoritism. We want to favor a particular individual or a particular institution. So you find that our type of reporting will be bent towards that party A or party B in our stories. So those are the elements that bring about controversy in the media, and as to whether we are truly free, whether we do not fear or we favor. So it's a yes and no.
It's a yes and a no. All right, 0960-200-490. That is the number through which you can get to contribute. Let me get to start reading text messages now at approximately 9:43. All right, this one says, good morning, Lorenzo, Boyd, and Helen. What is freedom of expression? Does it include people insulting the head of state? I hear in the States, people can say anything they want about the president. He means in the US. That shocked me. Is there a law people break who have insulted the president? I know it's morally wrong, but I wanted to find out if there's a specific law that is violated. That's Andre. So that's his first question. Second question, Misa is happy, says Helen, about the multiplication of private media. How then does Helen feel with the demise of the Post newspaper and the latest one, Prime Television? Did Misa issue any statement? About press freedom, the news diggers held a public discussion forum around Bill 10 and had cadres from a certain political party, ironically, that love to pray. What do you make of that, Boyd? Does that show press freedom or lack of it? About our national broadcaster.
Are all those questions coming
From one person? Yes.
Can you repeat? The first one is on
Okay, let me go one by one.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Let me repeat the first one. The first one, he asks, what is freedom of expression? Does it include people insulting the head of state? I hear in the US, people can say anything they want about the president. That shocked me. Is there a law people break who have insulted the president? I know it's morally wrong, but I wanted to find out if there is a specific law that is violated. All right, so maybe let me have you take that one.
No, you can continue.
Okay, then the other one says,
I just wanted to understand.
Misa is happy, says Helen, about the multiplication of private media. How then does Helen feel with the demise of the Post newspaper and the latest one, Prime? Did Misa issue any statement? Okay, so that's two. And then the third one, about press freedom, the news diggers held a public forum around Bill 10 and had cadres from a certain political party, ironically, that loves to pray. What do you make of that, Boyd? Does that show press freedom or the lack of it? Maybe let me pause before I read the other ones.
Okay, so thank you very much. In terms of press freedom, he's saying what is press freedom, and under Article 20, sub-article 1 of the Constitution of Zambia. What's his name?
Andre.
Andre. Under Article 20 of the Constitution of Zambia, sub-article 1, it provides for freedom of expression. This is an article that empowers you to hold an opinion, to express yourself without being interfered, and to participate in decision-making processes, to hold your leaders to account, to have a say on anything that affects you as a citizen of this country. So freedom of expression, yes, it does exist. But when we go down to his comments on people insulting the president, honestly speaking, when we talk about, Boyd was just talking about abuse here. When we talk about freedom of expression, that does not give us the express right to start using derogatory statements against one another. When you look at Section 69, and I'll quote, and he's referring to the president, and he's saying that in the United States, the citizens are free to insult. While we are a Christian nation, that's one thing that he must bear in mind. And insulting is not one thing that we can entertain. I don't think even him, we can insult his father in his home or allow his children to insult him. And under 69 of the section 69
Mm-hmm.
of the laws of Zambia, I think it talks about protecting the office of the president, and it reads, it protects the president's reputation and the dignity of his office by providing that any person who with intent to bring the president into hatred, ridicule, or contempt publishes any defamatory or insulting matter, either by writing, print, or word of mouth, or in any other manner, is guilty of an offense. So the laws are there. And should you stand up and insult the president and think, my dear, the law will visit you. It is just right that we respect leadership, and that is an instruction from God. We cannot just stand up and say, let's insult the president today. It's unknown in Zambia. I want to give you an example of what happened, I think, last year, where we had one caller who called in one of the radio stations, and they thought they would not be identified, and they used the pseudonym, and they lied as to where they were calling from. And that caller started insulting the head of state. Yes, it took time, but the authorities managed to trace that guy, and that guy was brought before the courts of law. So it is not right to insult not only the head of state, but any human being. We are human beings, and we are called upon to love one another. So issues of freedom of expression, yes, we need to promote and defend our right to express ourselves freely, but freedom of expression comes with a responsibility. Freedom of expression comes with a responsibility in that we should not abuse it, be it online, be it offline. And these standards of people hiding using pseudonyms, thinking they will not be discovered, those days are gone. Those days are gone, and we have seen a number of people who are being traced by the law enforcement agents because of the same issue of using pseudonyms and trying to disrespect others in society.
Okay. Yeah. And then there was a question for Boyd. How do you respond to that one?
Well, any media house, media institution, media grouping is free to hold public discussions on national issues, because that is the only way they can participate in national dialogue and conversations around matters that are affecting the nation. There could be developmental issues, there could be humanitarian issues and things like that. And the example that was given, yes, the newspaper, News Diggers had all the rights under their ambit to convene a public discussion, but of course it was disrupted in a manner that we all saw. However, what matters most is that when such gatherings are convened, one, they must conform to the laws of the land. Then secondly, journalistically, they must be balanced. Those who feel aggrieved that my voice is not being heard, at such public gathering, should be given an opportunity also to speak. The confusion that arose there, if at all the other parties felt they were not given an opportunity, all that was needed to be done was to provide them with an opportunity to also air their voices. But I think, in all fairness, the media house was in order, in my personal understanding, to convene a gathering to discuss a national issue. That was a national subject. It is still a national subject, which every concerned citizen has a right to voice their opinion on.
Okay, we're going for a breather. When we come back, we continue our interaction.
There was a question on the
the
post?
Yes, the post. Yes, yes. Maybe I can have you answer that one before we go for a breather. Yeah.
What is he saying? That we are happy post, that we have a number of media houses?
Yes, he said, Misa is happy, says Helen, about the multiplication of private media. How then does Helen feel with the demise of the Post newspaper and the latest one, Prime? Did Misa issue any statement? He wants to find out.
Well, okay. So aside from issuing statements, we've been, I think even during the Post, I need to go back to the Post. I think we did offer our moral support and try by all means to engage the relevant authorities to see how we can resolve the differences. And the Post is now history, but the latest one is Prime TV. We did engage, I'm sure Andre must go back, I think online, you'll see where we've been engaging both the state, the and the Prime TV, and we were there to support Mr. Gerard Shawa when he was apologizing to government, and we are still supporting because this is a matter that we're still dealing with, and I do not want to go into details of what we are doing exactly to try and help Prime TV. How did we feel? It's just like you as a mother or father have maybe 3 children or 4 children, then you lose one of them to death or something else. I think any normal parent will not feel take it well. So it's the same situation that we are going through, and we are praying that our prayers will be answered, because we still need the independent media to flourish and not to be gagged in any way.
Okay. All right. I hope that answers you, Andre. Andre, I promise I'll get back to reading the remainder of your text messages plus others that are sending through. We're catching a breather. Join us on the other side for more right on the program. You can catch us via Facebook